Go. We'll leave that in. That'll be the start, won't it? Then leave that in. So we're here for our second podcast. So welcome back if you watched our first one, or welcome. We're hopefully doing a weekly podcast, maybe more if we have any time or if people really want us to. The purpose of these podcasts are really for us to create a conversation with you. So do talk to us in the comments. We may mention some things that you don't necessarily agree with. We may put in some tips and tricks and things like that you may want to try, and let us know if they work for you. I will put in a disclaimer that we will be saying some tips and tricks and things like that in this podcast. We're not experts. We're just trying to speak from our own point of view, our own experiences, and sort of create a conversation with you around what's going on at this weird and interesting time. This one is kind of about Corona, but this is the only time hopefully Corona will actually be mentioned, because we do want to make sure that there are other things to life than this new thing that's sweeping the world. So we're really going to be focusing this podcast on how to sort of exist in your own space, how to be at home, how to potentially live with parents again if you're doing that, how to live with other people in such a confined space. And yeah, hopefully creating a conversation around that with you, so you can let us know your experiences and we can let you know our experiences. So really, I'll start the podcast with, how is everyone? Week 2 of whatever this is. How are people coping? How are people dealing with things?
This has been harder than week 1, I reckon. I don't know how you guys feel, but this has been harder.
Yeah, I feel because we've done a week now of the official lockdown. It's been a week, so it's been quite hard to get used to the routine, and I'm starting to get more bored now. So, which is obviously understandable. I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm sure other people are in the same sort of situation. But yeah, no, it's been kind of got into the work from home routine now, but also bored at the same time.
I don't know. I actually don't feel too bad. I actually think week 1 was worse, because I think I'm kind of in, like you said, I'm kind of in a routine now, so I just feel like at ease and quite comfortable. But the only problem with that is, because I'm comfortable, I've noticed I haven't gone out as much, and so my skin has actually got really bad because I haven't gone out and got fresh air, which is really odd, but it kind of makes sense.
And sunlight.
Yeah.
I've been trying to go out most days. I've been trying to go out for like a run or a walk most days to still get my 1 piece of exercise a day, which is obviously vital if you can. That sort of helps to break the day up a little bit. A bit of fresh air. I think it does make a hell of a difference. So
I'm really struggling with that. I used to so the first week or week and a half, I'd go every day to the park with Phoebes, and now they've shut the park. And where I live, there's nowhere else that I can kind of go. I literally it's a field. Which is nice, but it's boring for a toddler. So now we stay in the house because she's got toys and she's got stuff in the garden or whatever. And I'm finding that I haven't been out since Friday, which is, well, that's a week, isn't it? Really, nearly a week. I haven't actually left the house. So that's
I did that, didn't I? So I went out shopping Tuesday, didn't we go, Jamie?
Yeah, I went Tuesday. Yeah, after Tuesday evening. Yeah,
and that was my first time I left the house since last Monday. Before that. So I didn't go out for 8 days, but that was because I was feeling ill as well. So social responsibility and all that. So
well done.
Yeah,
it wasn't actually that busy. The shops, it was all right.
No, shops are fine now, aren't they? Really?
Where did you go? I don't know, because there's still queues and stuff. I'm finding like it's 1 in, 1 out.
We're finding the ones in town. So the one in town, Tesco in town, you can't drive there, so it's really empty. Like people just can only walk there. So people aren't really trekking there to walk there. But if you go somewhere like Sainsbury's, it's rammed. It's because people can drive there. So I think it makes a difference.
Now that all the students have gone home, there's more shops that are stocked up.
Yeah.
I'm seeing more like toilet roll now. Not like I'm seeing no pasta still, but there's shops all stocked up and stuff. But I think that's just because the students have gone. Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose where I live it's slightly different because we don't have students like in Dover and stuff. And I went to Aldi on last Friday, and it was literally 1 in, 1 out, and people were like sardines. It was horrible, and I was kind of like, guys, back off. I felt like I was going to fight with them because they were coming too close, which is so ridiculous because they weren't doing anything. They were just there.
Well, Phil and I said this the other day. It's impossible, isn't it, to keep a 2 metre in the shops? It's impossible to keep 2 metre distance for everyone.
They're just not built for. And the aisles themselves aren't even 2 metres. So, like, if you're on one side getting something and they're on the other, it's
No.
This is quite interesting what's just happened. We just said at the start we're not going to talk about corona, and then instantly we just move straight into talking about corona, which is actually really interesting in terms of people's lives right now, I assume. So
it's taken over, isn't it?
Yeah, people's lives will be centered around corona. People's lives will be thinking about corona at all times. People's lives will be, should I go to the shops because of corona? Should I do whatever because of corona? And whilst we need to accept that that is going to happen, because obviously it's a very interesting thing that's happening right now, we perhaps need to rejig our minds to not completely focus on corona the whole time and start thinking about other things around that. Corona is going to affect lots of the stuff that we do. However, what are we doing because of corona? What are we, rather than talking about what we're doing, what's corona? Yeah, that's the word. Yes.
Yeah.
Planting vegetables. I'm basically just become someone out of the good life. I'm effectively a farmer now, leaving my job at CCSU. That's me done.
We basically live on the farm, don't you, in the countryside, basically.
I do. Yes, I do. And I love it. And now I have potatoes and broccolis and cabbages and cucumbers and green beans and carrots and all sorts of things growing. I say growing, hopefully they'll grow. But yeah, that's keeping me busy, and it's helping with Phoebes as well. So anyone that's got children, maybe younger children specifically, because it keeps them busy every day. It's quite a routine for her. She gets up in the morning, we go and water the plants. We make sure we water the potatoes first because they need the most. And then we kind of go inside, do our day, and then in the evening, that's another thing that we do. We go out and we water the plants again. So it's quite a nice kind of routine. I teach her about them as well, so it's a learning opportunity.
So both you, Chloe, and I think I did earlier, mentioned this idea of routine. Is that one of your tips that you would suggest? Create routine, whatever that looks like.
Definitely. Like routine, I think, is so important for so many different things, especially say you've got like a mental health condition that you're living with, and this is exasperating it, which completely appropriate and completely natural that it would do. Routine is something that can mitigate that, routine and regular exercise. So I think even if you're like, we're quite lucky because we have work, so we have to get up at 9 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock, sorry, to have our weekly daily briefings. But other people that maybe don't have that routine, you need to implement your own. So whether that's waking up and making sure that for 9 o'clock you're tuning into Joe Wick's blooming PE session or something like that, that holds you accountable. I think is really, really positive, and making sure you take like your lunch at the same time, your dinners at the same time, and you're getting like a decent amount of sleep as well, not staying up till 4 o'clock in the morning and then sleeping in till 12, because it just doesn't help you.
No, I think that's important about the routines. I'm sure that you stick to your normal working hours, have your normal lunch break when you normally would at work, as you said. Obviously it's actually a bit dressed for work. I mean, I probably I've been doing that, to be honest, but making sure that if you dress to work, then you'll be more like working condition mind, but as well as if you're doing uni work as well, making sure that you dress that you would maybe just go to library, that sort of thing. I mean, if you just generally wear like casual clothes anyway, that's obviously fair enough. But it's just about having your normal lunch, taking your routine, taking regular breaks, but I think probably like dress to work really. And obviously, sounds stupid, but if you can't see anyone physically, make sure you see people virtually, like this. So virtually speak to people at least once a day. That make you feel more at ease. Well,
yeah. To be fair, I think this is the first day since lockdown that I've actually worn jeans, because I know I'm and then we're doing the filming, so I'm like, I should probably look reasonably okay.
Yeah. I did that the other day, and I literally wore jeans. I was like, oh my god, these are quite tight. Like, I forgot how tight jeans are.
Yeah. I Phil wore a suit yesterday.
I did wear the top half of the suit yesterday. Yeah,
love that.
Trackers on the bottom, but
well, I sent Chloe a different video. Trust me. So
Is that shareable on our community page?
Probably not on the community page, but I'll share it with you two if you really want. So we've sort of covered a little bit about it, but I've got here on my notes tips to cope with boredom, because obviously right now people have a ridiculous amount of time just free, potentially just sitting around living a sedentary life. We've spoken about getting outside, whether that's gardening, whether that's exercising, but have we got any tips to cope with boredom? I'm probably looking at Becky here in terms of cooking, I think is the first thing that came to the top of my head. But there's got to be loads of other things that we're all doing.
Yeah, I mean, cooking's a great one, because cooking is something that it gives you that sense of control back as well, because you can batch cook with the food that you've got and freeze it, so it almost makes you feel more prepared for the future. Because I think a lot of, I don't know about you guys, but probably me and several other people, my biggest fear is the unknown. So it's that I don't know if there's going to be food available in a week. Are they going to put us on, you know, complete lockdown where actually I can't go to the shops because Asda's already implemented that you can only go with one person, you can't take children in. What do I just leave her outside, or
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
so that's in Canterbury.
No, the unknown is because you don't know when it's going to end. It's going to be a couple of months. Is it going to be a month? Is it going to be till September? But you don't know, do you? That's the hard part.
Bringing it back to non-corona.
Yeah, sorry.
Cooking, cooking gives you it's I don't know. It's like an expressive thing, so it's quite creative, and it makes you feel in control. So you can freeze things, and it's just experimenting. I really like. I mean, I film the cooking that we're doing now. It's funny with Phoebe watching her like eat a raw tomato, stuff like that.
And you can watch us cook later on that 12 o'clock day. But if you watch this another day, it's obviously filming it today. Whatever day you're watching it, we're filming something today. So but for me, for Border, I mean, you can obviously a bit of a shout out for our virtual events. You can check out them. The Who 12 o'clock tomorrow. But yeah, just do different things. Catch up our events, keep something to do. Discord, is it Becky's Discord server? How many people? We've got a lot of people on there now, haven't we? So
do you think that so screen time is probably something that we should talk about, because being stuck at home, screen time is obviously going up and up and up. Trying to find things that are a little bit more old school that you can do, books, you know, those things that have words in.
A book.
You can read a book online though, Becky.
You can, but you'd get square eyes. But yeah, book. I'm looking at my bookcase longingly and lovingly, because it's always that thing, and people maybe of kind of my age and a bit older always go, we don't have time to read books anymore, whereas we used to, because things are so busy, whereas now you've got time to read the things that you want to read, whether that is online or not, if it's a Kindle or whatever. But do read, because you forget how important that is, and you can't get it all from a Netflix show.
And also sort of bringing this to students, make sure that you're continually reading around your subject, not necessarily just about the specifics in your subject as well. That's one tip that I would have used this time. What's on your reading list then, Becky?
At the moment, so there's a Dean Koontz and a Stephen King that I haven't managed to plough through in the last couple of years, but I've also got, I'll show you actually, an entire shelf of psychology books that I want to read for pleasure. So I've spent the last 4 years reading them in parts that I had to read, ready for assignments, to read them as an entirety, like a novel, for pleasure, because you see a whole different side to your subject when you do that. There you go.
reading around it rather than just reading for the assignment.
Basically, and there's, you know, like, so you know when you do your subjects and stuff, and you have an assignment and you go, but then you kind of go off on a tangent, but you go, no, that's not relevant to the actual assignment that I'm doing, but I'm really interested in it, and you never really find time to go and look at it. Now you can take those tangents and go and follow certain things. Like, I like psychosexuality. Well, I haven't been able to do that because that was not particularly my topic. Now I can read all about Freud. Great.
Your big mate Freud.
Big mate Freud.
So there's like some students at the moment, obviously, like haven't got particularly any assignments to do. Maybe they should have been on placement and stuff like that. So it's really important. You still can do stuff to help your own personal development. You know, still do readings, still help stuff that could help enhance your looking forward to next year. Maybe start to enhance your course next year. You know, or just stuff to help your own. If you need to, I mean, obviously, if you're on teach, for example, you could do some like extra stuff that would be weaker, or if you're not sort of strong on the English, maybe you can do some more work around that, or stuff like that. But you can do it even if it hasn't got anything to do with this particular assignment. You can still do stuff to enhance your development.
I'll tell you what is really interesting is so if you're on Twitter, anyone's on Twitter, Tom Delahunt is a nursing lecturer. So he does nursing, but he does good. But he does poetry around, like, about his subject. But it's not just poetry either, it's art, it's kind of installation art, sculptures. Maybe that's something that people could kind of get into, is looking at their topics from very different perspectives and finding ways to express how they feel about them.
Yeah, and that might sound slightly weird to a lot of people. It sounded weird to me, but when I went to one of his sort of classes at the Learning and Teaching Conference, it is really good. It takes you even he makes you feel comfortable with things and things like that, so you don't feel inadequate because you're not part of that community or whatever. But it is really good. It makes you think about the way you think about things.
So should we link Tom Delahunt in this? I think
Again,
when we
link
do
Tom.
Hey, Tom.
Chloe, what about some tips for coping with boredom and things like that? You got any?
I was going to say about I know it's sort of screen time again, but if you can, like throughout the week, just check in with your friends. So I think like I'm sure sports teams and societies have done this, but like just getting a group together and just hosting like some form of social online. It's so nice just to see other people's faces and know what they're up to, and then from that you can kind of go away and yeah, so like I know that a lot of the football girls are doing like quizzes and stuff, and that's always fun. But yeah, I definitely think, you know, check in with your friends, host some form of social, so you just still have that social aspect of your life.
Yeah, or even like a group project.
Yeah.
So like Pole Fitness, they did that thing where they all got ready for sports
ready for
shed and
sports.
stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So cool.
So good.
But yeah, it sort of creates a togetherness and a shared experience and stuff, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do they glam up and everything? Yeah.
Pardon?
Do they glam up and everything? Do they all proper
Proper glow up. It's amazing.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
It's a really good video, actually.
It was brilliant. Yeah.
That's good. That's really good.
And Chloe, I don't know if you like, maybe this is something actually to speak to sports teams, but like doing things like time capsules, so kind of virtual time capsules to remember what's going on now, because this is completely historical and unprecedented and all the rest of it. And these are the people that they've spent the last 3 years with, and this is who they're going through this experience with. And it's, I think, maybe video logging that is, and then putting it away, and not like, you know, putting it anywhere or whatever, but keeping it and kind of maybe talking a bit like a bigger situation, like a diary room, talking about like how they're feeling, what they're going through right at this particular moment, and who's closest to them, so they can look back in the future. That's
a really good idea.
You know, you can do it. I think you can do it physically. You can do obviously old school time capsules with newspapers and stuff. I think we're now living in 2020 and everyone's making videos, so it makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's such a good idea.
We got your memories
you're writing a journal, aren't you? You're writing like a journal about it. So
it's just, it's more like, so I sort of write, what did I do today? Because it's so like, you could do a simple thing that in everyday life, if this wasn't happening, it's so minute and not really relevant. But actually, because you're in one household, it's actually kind of a big thing. So like, even if you like, I don't know, like cook a cake from scratch, like that's actually quite a small thing in like general life. But in these days, like it is quite a big thing. So I'm sort of just writing down stuff like that. And then plus like what's going on around the world as well, not just in the UK, because the news can get a bit doom and gloom every day. So it's, you know, good to find out if there's any positives from other countries, I suppose.
Yeah, I think something like, as you say, it's like a success story. Like you can write down like one thing that you found quite good a day, or one thing that went quite well. Actually, could be like a cake. Oh, made a really good cake today, or something like that. You know, but one thing each day. You can do these sort of videos on your phone, can't you? Like a 1 second video. Capture something really good for 1 second.
Yeah, 1 second a day, isn't it? And then at the end of the month, it like sends you like the 1 second from every day, and it actually is like really cool. It's really cool to have.
It's like a bit of a time, cool.
Like bringing it back to kind of mental health and stuff like that, is if you're writing a journal and you're being reflective on like within yourself, you're going to recognize the triggers more so. So if you know that you struggle with anxiety or depression or something like that, and you have done before, more likely to see it coming if you're writing and reflecting every day. So it'll help you to stay well. So that's, I think that's quite a helpful thing to be doing, really.
Yeah.
What do people think about dream journals?
Love it.
Well, stuff you dream about, obviously.
Yeah, so basically whatever you dream about, or whatever you remember that you dream, you then wake up and you write down in a journal what you dreamt about.
By the time I get to writing it down, I just forget what I've dreamt about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll agree with that. Yeah, I think I'd forget.
And he'll basically tell you that all of your dreams you're going to die. That's effectively what he'll tell you.
That's reassuring for our viewers.
Well, you're always highly discredited, so I wouldn't worry too much.
What was that, Becky? You were far away from the mic.
Sorry, Jung was widely discredited, so I wouldn't worry too much. I wouldn't have too much stuff in it. I like dreams though, because I think it's your brain's way of sorting out what you couldn't process during the day. You know what I mean? Like it's things that maybe have been playing on your mind, or maybe you haven't even realised in the subconscious, and they come up at night and you're like, why am I dreaming about this person climbing a fence or whatever? And then you kind of think about it and you go, oh, maybe I'm nervous or worried about them. I haven't spoken to them in a while, or do you know what I mean? Something like that.
Yeah.
I think they're important, dreams.
I find dreams interesting.
Yeah, they're so bizarre, aren't they?
Yeah. And obviously I dream every night, but I don't remember the dreams I obviously have. I actually remember them very rarely, to be honest.
Do you find that your dreams are more like conceptual, so more feelings than like specific events or kind of situations and stuff?
No, mine are very situational.
I mean, that doesn't surprise me about you, because that's quite a linear train of thought.
Mine are very events. Like I'll be at an event or doing something, or I'll never be reflect. I'll just be doing something. I don't really know what, but I'll be at somewhere. So.
Yeah. Mine are more like feelings. Like I wake up with feelings rather than specific things that I remember. Or like there'll be a person in it, and I remember, you know, what's actually gone on. I just remember like a feeling about it, whether it feels positive or negative.
Mine are weird. I'll dream about that I've already had the dream before. And
all right.
Like, I had,
oh my God, Inception.
Yeah, I have it all the time, and it's so weird. Like I'll wake up and be like, "Oh my God, I had that dream before. That's the second time I've had that dream. Actually, my dream telling me I have, and I wake up believing it. It's like the oddest thing ever, honestly."
That's so cool, though. Should we spend a week writing down our dreams? Should we do a dream journal and then we can share?
Yeah, if we can remember. Yeah.
We can analyse each other's dreams. Oh, I love this.
Oh, I don't know. That might be a new level of friendship I'm not ready for.
Look, if we can survive Corona together, we can read each other's dreams, right?
Right. I reckon starting next week, if we remember, we'll try and write down each day. If we remember.
Okay, I'll do
Yeah,
that.
if I can remember.
And I can use
Just a
this.
little. Oh yeah.
Have you not used it yet?
No, because I was saving it to have like a journal for traveling.
Then save it. Maybe don't do your dreams in it.
But I had to write down the original podcast idea in here because I had no other paper.
Fair. Oh,
I want to come back to something that Chloe said quickly around positives of things as well. So making sure that we're not just living in this doom and gloom world. And that was something I really wanted to try and get down to the crux of, is that there are positives that have come out of this situation, and sort of explore what some of them are for you.
Yeah.
Or for us, not for you.
I mean, let's not jump at once.
I think a positive for me is it has allowed reflection. So you do have a lot of time for reflection and things like that, whether that's work, personal life, where you want to go in your career, where you want to go in the future, blah, blah, blah. So that's a positive for me.
I think they say reflection is a big one. Obviously, you reflect on how much you miss stuff, don't you? Miss, seeing friends, seeing like a normal routine and friends and stuff. But obviously, that's not really a success.
Well, that's a positive though, because then you're not taking things for granted. Because actually, you're appreciating it more.
Yeah, exactly. You're appreciating more actually.
Yeah.
I wish I spent more time with the so and so, or I wish I did this earlier, because now I might not be able to do it again or whatever. Because this could be for Chloe, Phil, and I. This could be wouldn't be able to go back to to the office or back to the uni life. So then this might be it. So it'd be hard to,
Did you enjoy your last Waitrose trip? Do you remember it?
Yeah, as I was saying,
I don't know. I don't remember my last Waitrose trip.
I don't.
It was probably with Roach though, so it was clearly a good time.
Yeah. Most definitely with him and his bloody pork pies or whatever they are. Sausage rolls.
Iberico ham sausage rolls.
Yeah. I think in terms of positives for me, this has shown me that actually I need to slow the hell down a little bit. And
no! If only everyone else that knows you have said the exact same thing.
Look, okay, I had to come to the realization on my own.
Yeah. No, I don't mean to mock. I don't mean to mock.
I don't think it will like completely, not transform what I do and stuff like that, but it will definitely, like, I want to work from home at least one day a week now going forward, even like out of this, because I realised how much happier and content I am being at home, like even working from here, and then having dinner with Phoebe drastically has changed the way that we bond. Because before we weren't eating together, we weren't having breakfast together or lunch or dinner together, so the only meals we'd have were at weekends. So now we get breakfast, lunch, dinner, go to bed. Like, it's just easier and nicer, and I feel like I know my daughter a little bit better. That was really deep, but you know where I'm going with that.
No, that's positive. Yeah.
I suppose another thing is that you're being more cautious about stuff, a positive. So everyone's a bit more cautious about spreading germs, make sure you're washing your hands, doing stuff, so not touching things. Whereas before we sort of just used to go on and touch escalators and lifts and stuff, and now actually everyone's a bit more like cautious about stuff, awareness, which is obviously a help. Even if it will stop.
Jamie, though, aren't you? That was you before, so are you just glad that everyone else is on the same wavelength now?
Well, kind of, yeah, but no, it's good because going forward, even if it does sort of die off by a few months' time, everyone will still be cautious about it, won't they? And hopefully we'll start people thinking a bit more about not coughing everywhere and stuff. So yeah, that's a positive, I think.
I hope it doesn't go the other way though, and people because what you've noticing is like a lot less kindness in person. Like, people are kind of so scared of other people because of what they could carry or what they could do. People are kind of a bit apprehensive. I hope that doesn't continue. I hope that after this people are like, oh, people who had corona, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I hope not. But you say, that's the other side of it. Yeah, I hope it doesn't. But we'll have to wait. We don't know yet, do we? We don't know. It's the unknown. So
Into the unknown. Into the unknown.
Wow. Nice. We'll get copyrighted.
Yeah.
Day 10, everybody, of isolation.
Chloe, have you got any other positives that have you come from?
Sort of similar to you, Phil. I've been able to reflect a bit more. I kind of know what I might want to do next. Like, obviously I've always had the dream job and what I want to go into, but I've spent a lot of time recently how I'm going to get there, which I never kind of had time to do. So I have considered things like doing a master's, not at Christchurch before any football goal season.
Year 7, baby, woo!
Happen, but I've kind of looked at how I'm going to get there and what I need to do to get there. So I guess that's a positive of sort of working out my next steps, I guess.
Yeah, that's really cool. Have you thought about what particular masters you're thinking about?
Well, so I was looking at UCFB Wembley, and they've got a master's in football communications and marketing or something like that. So yeah, I think sort of go down that route.
Yeah, is that the one that's in partnership with the FA?
I think so.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Look, I've read a bit about it. It looks really good.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
Something that we haven't really spoken about yet is the fact that we're potentially living in shared spaces. So obviously, for people that don't know, me and Jamie live together. Becky lives with Phoebe, her young daughter, and Chloe do you live with 2 or 3 other people?
So Griggs has gone home, so I just live with Laura now.
Oh, okay. So that has its own interesting situation itself. How are we finding living in shared spaces, living more consistently with people, things like that? Oh, getting handed knives just randomly.
Christ. She bought a mango, now she's bought a knife. She's like, now, do it now.
It's just got to be comforting knowing your 3-year-old's walking around with a knife.
Trust.
Oh God, I'm going to get social services knocking on my door, aren't I?
Yeah. This podcast is going to go, and everyone's just going to be. Do they have an at on Facebook? What's going on?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's also about us considering we're relatively fortunate that hopefully we're living with people that we like. But people maybe are not, and people are also perhaps living back home with their parents, and obviously going straight from university, going straight back into that situation may be quite difficult to deal with.
Especially when you're anticipating staying at uni for another few months. Obviously,
yeah, exactly.
So it's quite a long summer, if you can kind of call it that, which is quite a long, from now till September. It's quite a long time at home.
Yeah, for sure. It's a massive adjustment, isn't it?
Yeah,
from having all this freedom.
I mean, it's not so bad. I think for me and you, it's not so bad. There's only 2 of us, so we can sort of be quite easy with sharing the bathroom and sharing the washing up and stuff like that. So yeah, because obviously we sort of spend a lot of time. Give people the time to give you the time to do stuff and the time to do stuff. But obviously, if it's a house of like 5 of you, it's quite hard, to get the routines back again. Especially when you pay. I know my parents say when they're back home is that, oh no, the bathroom's gonna be busier now. The shower and that sort of thing. So it's like it's about they're used to having just like them, but now they've got me and my brother back. It's gonna be hard to get the bathroom routine back again. So that sort of thing, it's quite hard to adjust to.
I think the parent thing is so interesting because, like, for me, I've been living in Canterbury for my 6th year now, and then as soon as July hits, I'm going to move back into the family home. And you sort of, I think, for a lot of students, like, you kind of lose that independence almost. And as much as it is nice to go back in the family home, and many people are lucky enough to have that to go back to. You do sort of. I'm worried about losing my independence just because, like, being on doing meetings online with like some of the football girls and that, their like parents are coming and being like, you're being too loud, and it's just like just let me, I just want to talk to my friends sort of thing.
I think playing devil's advocate, because I moved out at like 14, and then I went back when I was, I think, 20 for like 3 weeks. But the going back was so hard. But then I think as an adult now, I see that you've kind of got to give a bit of leeway to parents because they're also in their own routines. That's their home, and they've had that routine for probably 15, 20 years in some cases. And then you come back in and you've got this new independence. You're mature, you have lived on your own for a while, you think that you're fully a grown adult and you this, that and the other, and it's not to negate that, but then at 2021 you still are young. There are still things you won't understand about stuff, and things that you can't do that you'd want to do. So where we're used to, I don't know, staying up until 4 a.m. in the morning and sleeping until 1, which is absolutely fine, we live on your own, going back to a parent's home, I can tell you as a parent, it would wind me up, because that's my house. You can't do anything when there's someone laying in bed, like, they're not contributing to the house, they're not kind of engaging with the family. And I just think it's hard to bear in mind, but it's something that you do need to bear in mind, that they're also changing their routine and their lives are changing just as dramatically as yours are.
A very good point. It's also important to not regress and go back to that 16-year-old or before 18-year-old self. And just get mummy and daddy to wait on you hand and foot and whatever else. Make
cook
sure
your food and stuff like that.
Make sure that you keep some independence, because ultimately, who knows what's going to happen, but ultimately people will be moving out sooner rather than later. I imagine people will be saving up money to do other things, and you'll become independent again, and you'll be smacked bang straight into reality before where you've had this soft cushy life for the last however many weeks or months.
It also helps with strained relationships, I think. So if you do regress back and the parents are like, well, hold on a minute, we've had 6 years, in your case, Chloe, of not washing Chloe's underwear and, cooking for her. And now suddenly, hold on, we're expected to do this again. This is not what I kind of signed up for. It can put strain on relationships. Whereas if you maintain your own independence as an adult and your parents maintain that, you'll be friends. It'll be a very different dynamic and a different relationship, but it'll be better and more healthy than it will be you going back and expecting that parent-child relationship again.
No, definitely.
But I think just having obviously every relationship with people's parents is different, but I think having an open, honest conversation can always be the best way to go in terms of setting boundaries, trying to get your parents to understand the new you, if that's what you are, and trying to get people to understand the way that you want to do things, but also, as Becky said, trying to understand how your parents are doing things as well, and creating that sort of compromise, I guess. And any siblings as well. We haven't even mentioned siblings.
Well, I think that's a really important thing as well for our trans and non-binary brothers and sisters, that they're going to struggle probably 100 times more than someone that wasn't going through that or hasn't been through that. I know firsthand from close friends that have had it where they've gone home and their parents just aren't accepting. And that's not even just trans and non-binary. That could be LGBT. That could be people that have come out of university that are then going home to someone that doesn't accept them, and then having to live in that house for X amount of time. Like, that can be really difficult. And I think in that, like you said, Phil, maintaining transparency, talking to each other and being adult about it. Like, rather than, being a bit petulant and going, well, they just don't understand. There's nowhere for you to go. In life, when we don't get people, we can't just run away from them. We have to face it head on, and we have to deal with it and figure a way through as best we possibly can, because that's how you survive. That's how you adapt to things. But yeah, there's lots of support available as well. Stonewall has quite a lot of support available at this sort of time, so do get in touch with them if you need to as well.
Yeah, I think that's the important thing that you mentioned towards the end of what you just said around don't get frustrated and angry, because new things are sometimes hard to understand and conceptualize and get your head around, and a lot of times people will react in ways that you didn't expect them to react to any news or whatever. But sometimes sort of putting your cards on the table and saying, look, this is who I am, this is what I am, this is what I want to do, but can actually be the starting point. And it may be a little bit rocky, but going on, who knows, it may get better. And as Becky said, there is lots of support out there.
Yeah. There's nothing, I always found in life that you're only ever going to have positives come from being upfront and honest. It might take a little while for it to come through, but the problems occur when you don't say what you really think and what you really feel. Keeping secrets and keeping stuff inside is when it breeds contempt and it breeds anger. Whereas if you're upfront honest from the beginning, it'll be crap for a little while, but then you'll get through it and you'll find the right way through it.
Yes, I agree.
Good advice.
I'm conscious that some of us, I think Becky actually has another meeting in 5 minutes. So we'll just wrap it up. Sort of general end statements around being inside doesn't have to be boring. Think about the opportunities. I heard a phrase the other day that was quite interesting, is that isolation is leading to innovation, which is quite
I love that.
Yeah. So innovate, be creative, do whatever you feel you can at this time. Get outside, whether it's gardening, whether it's exercise, whether it's walking, whether it's just going to the shop. But yeah, anybody else got anything to say?
No, I just think you kind of said really, just stick to your daily routine. So get up for normal for work, or for working environment, whether you're doing your assignments or going to work or working from home. Take breaks, go out. Pretty much it really.
Yeah.
Just keep in contact with someone virtually as well.
Yeah.
I'm
going to come up with a classic hippie thing and be like, use this opportunity to nourish your soul. We don't have many opportunities in life where we can stop, take stock, read a book, go outside, walk barefoot, do whatever we want to do. So use the opportunity and just do it, really. It'll make you feel better, I promise.
Yeah.
And comment down below. Let's start a conversation.
Yeah. What do you want us to talk about? What do we want to know about?
Yeah, we can talk about anything. We're not experts on anything, so we can chat about anything really. But yeah, comment about anything that we've potentially spoken about today. Anything that you want us to speak about in the future. Anything that you think or if you disagree with us, we're happy to have disagreement conversations in the chat. That's the whole point about this, really.
We love a debate, don't we? Love a debate.
Yeah. And do get in touch if you want. And just do get in touch if you want to speak to us. We got the live chat function on the website as well. If you want any questions and stuff, but obviously comment on here if you've got any particular comments regarding our podcast. Yeah.
Cool. Right. Well, we're going to be filming a live Instagram later, so who knows how that goes. Becky's going to be leading it as the Michelin star chef in the group.
Oh God!
And I'm going to be Jamie's sous chef. He doesn't know this yet, but Jamie's going to take the lead, and I'll be sous chef. That's the point, Jamie. We're here to learn.
True, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, this is going to be hilarious! I can't wait.
Isolation is a good time to try new things, isn't it?
Oh, have you got all your ingredients? Did you get all your ingredients?
Combined, we do. Yeah.
I managed to find top tomatoes.
Well done. Awesome. Cool. I'm just going to bung in whatever I've got, really.
Yeah, I think we will too.
Be fine. It'll be fine.
Sounds
anyway,
good.
See you later.
Later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.